Hi everyone, this is Driftwood speaking on Gamerside, and I am going to tell you about Ghost of Tsushima, which is coming out this week. At the end of this week, we have completed the game. I have not, to be exact. Dafton completed the game. He couldn't make it on time to be with me today, so I'm going to explain what we liked and maybe what disappointed us a little bit. And obviously, because for once we were both able to play the game, and I did play the game a lot. I'm just taking my time to complete it. I think I can say pretty much everything we need to say, so you're set for the release of the game. So don't worry, no spoilers. You're going to see many very nice things visually, but I'm going to try to explain every aspect of the game. And we'll start with the story. So you play the role of Jin Sakai, who's a samurai, and his island, Tsushima, is going to be attacked by the Mongols, led by pretty badass bad guy, one of the best probably in recent years, who's called Khotun Khan, who's the I think the great grandson, or the grandson of Genghis Khan. Can't remember quite exactly, but first time you see him, you know he's not going to be a very nice person. And I'll let you enjoy the Japanese voices, because I think they're very good. And then you'll get to hear the English ones. Don't worry. So let's listen just a little bit.
我こそは足立晴信、かの足立義信が五代の末裔なり。
So, to be honest, story is not what, kept me wanting to play the game, at least in the beginning. The first third of the game it's rather slow, and I can't say the characters have a lot of charisma at first. Especially Jin Sakai, and the voice actor they used. I mean, it's not your typical. I mean, in Japanese, it sounds like a really badass guy. A bit less maybe in English, but that's fine, because that's also who the character is in the beginning. It's going to become more and more aggressive, and then after the first third of the game, then things start to become more interesting. So let's listen to the English voices, if you don't mind.
You are a warrior. I can see that.
Well, yeah, I know I should have shut up just before. That's the French voices. The video you're watching is the same as the French one. We couldn't do separate videos. We had to use the same content. We only were allowed 30 minutes of footage, so that's why. French version is actually good for once. It usually is in Sony's exclusive, so it's not a surprise, but I don't think you care that much about that. Because it's a samurai game, there's a possibility to play the game in black and white. It's not just a mere filter on the image. Sound quality is also affected. It actually is. It looks and sounds very nice, like the old movies, and I think the fans will enjoy it. To be honest, we didn't play the game much in black and white like this, because the game is so colorful, as you'll see, and so we wanted to have the full experience when it comes to the art style and everything. But it actually does look very convincing this way, and it's in perfect keeping with the tone and the tribute the game wanted to pay to the genre, obviously. So yeah, like I said, the story starts a bit slow, and then it becomes more interesting. It's nothing incredible, but it's entertaining. It's not The Last of Us Part 2, but at least probably more people will enjoy it, and there will not be fights and arguments over the internet because of the game. But so that's the story. That's all I'm going to say about the story. So I think it's better to enjoy it and to discover it on your own. And we're going to move to the next section, which is gameplay, combat, and stealth. And combat is very satisfying. It's one of the game's strongest suits, without a doubt. There's a combination of blocking and parrying and dodging and deflecting, and stealth. Well, stealth is satisfying too in a way, but some choices that have been made to make the game maybe appealing to everyone are a bit disappointing, at least for me. A little bit less for Dafton, but he also acknowledges that, yeah, some choices could have been different, at least in hard mode. All the videos you see here were captured in hard mode. We only played in hard mode, but stealth doesn't seem to be hard enough for someone who likes that kind of experience, although the story of the game pushes you to use stealth, because that's what Jin Sakai is going to learn, even though he's being taught the the Bushido lifestyle, more or less, or the honor, what's important for Japanese people, very important. He's going to be taught to, well, attack from behind, say that it's all right as long as the end justifies the means. Sometimes you don't have a choice, and that's not something that is easy for him to accept. So he's pushed to actually use stealth, which again in the game is made a little bit too easy for me. But combat is really nice, contrary to what the state of play might have led you to think, and even some of the footage we have here. Enemies just don't wait around when you're fighting one of them. In the beginning, maybe a little more, but then when you learn the combat system, then you realize that when there are many enemies around you, and there can be many, like maybe 10, maybe a bit less, a bit more, depending. But in a camp, there can be a lot of people when you get spotted, and it's not easy. I mean, you can perfect parry just like here, and then you can kill your enemy in one blow. Doesn't happen all the time, but most of the time it can, or at least in just a few attacks you can kill them, just like this this leader that I killed, and that allows me, just like observing them will allow me to slowly reach that level when I can learn a stance. And stances are important because one stance will be, well, actually be more useful to face an enemy with a sword or with a spear or with a shield. And sure, you can use the any stance against any enemy, but to break their guard, you'll need the stance that will be effective against them. And that's a very nice idea, and it works very well, and it makes combat engaging and, like I said, very fun and satisfying up until the end. Even though I didn't play the game until the end, it's something I still enjoy doing a lot. And so you can block. You can, if you time your block, you can deflect. If you time it better, you can parry and have that chance to attack immediately after and kill your enemy, like I said before. You can also dodge, and also if you there are skills, and there are 3 skill trees, and if you upgrade some of the skills, you can also if you time your dodge at the last second, you can also have a very quick attack that will well, hurt your enemy a lot more. So that's all very, very well done, and when you combine it with the stealth aspect, which again works very well, you can lure an enemy away, then chain assassinate like in Batman or in the Assassin's Creed games, and then your enemy will just run away because he'll be scared, and fear will also unlock. That fear aspect will be more important after the first third of the game too, so don't worry if you don't see it that much in the beginning. But yeah, like I said, the stealth mechanics are good. I mean, you have the tall grass and everything. It's just very common now. But the problem with stealth, in my opinion, is that the time it takes for enemies to see you're there, because there is like 3 phases. First, it's white, so they think they see something, then it becomes yellow, so then they come and check it out, and then when they see you for real, it becomes red, and then they raise the alarm, and then everyone is on you. And that problem is in hard mode. You still have a lot of time to go back to the shadows or to go back to the tall grass, and you can even use your your gear or charms you can equip on your weapon to make it even easier for you, to make it even longer for them to spot you, which you're allowed not to do it. But even if you don't do it, still you're going to have way too much time to go back to being invisible to the enemies. And it's a bit of a shame because, like I said, it's always very, very satisfying to, I'm going to say satisfying a lot, to be able to kill a series of enemies without getting noticed, using all the tools and gadgets you have, the kunai or the the bells you can use to lure them away, and to isolate them. And there's also the smoke and everything a ninja can use, you can have basically, and everything can be upgraded to. Like I said, 3 skill trees, one dedicated to the samurai, so the deflection and dodging aspects, and then one about the ghost, so like possibility to to see through the walls, or to when there's a confrontation which you can trigger when no one has seen you and you have people coming. That's what people said, well, that's not going to be very fun because they seem to be coming toward you and then you just press a button and you kill them instantly. It's not really difficult, it's true, but it allows you to kill 1 and then 2 and then 3 when you upgrade the skill enemies, and have fewer enemies to face. So all in all, again, every aspect of the game is very well crafted. It's just too easy to remain stealthy. Also, I like this attack when you're on the horse, and the horse is actually also very an upside in the game for me, as it plays and feels very well. The animations are also very good, but we'll talk about that later. So now that I think I've said pretty much everything I could about combat and stealth, we're going to move forward to exploration, which obviously is also a big part of the game. Exploring the island, and it's very well done too, because contrary to a Ubisoft game, you don't get overwhelmed with things to do. It's just what you need to keep busy. You can found, for example, here fox dance, and then the fox will guide you to a shrine, and then after a certain number of shrine you find, thanks to them, you will unlock new slots for charms I was talking about. I'll tell you just a little bit more about charms in a bit. You also have those places where you have to, it's not write, but you have to compose a haiku, which is a poem, and then you look at the environment, you pick up bits of sentences, and then it forms a haiku that your character will recite. And it works very well for the immersion, for the that sort of philosophical thinking that samurai had to turn to sometimes, to relax, and also to be more honorable maybe, and to understand life around them. It works very well, and it allows you to have pretty nice also views of the landscape, and we'll see that the landscape is amazingly beautiful in this game. There are different types of places you can find that will allow you to find skins for your weapons also. It's not something that will be a game changer, it won't affect gameplay, but it's always nice to be able to personalize your character. So clothing, like I said, the different weapons you have, actually you have 2, you have the katana and the Sakai Tanto. And there's also hunting, not very much. You can hunt boars and you can hunt bears, and it's just on your way you'll kill just a bunch. Very easy to kill bears, by the way, easiest bears to kill in video games if you aim for the head. And then also hot springs, which are maybe a little more interesting, because your life bar will increase every time you find one, and then you'll be able to reflect on one of the 2 things they will tell you can at that moment, at that specific place in the game. So it's like all those little things added together, not being thrown at you in such a way that you don't even know what to do anymore. You feel like you're there's too many things to do. And I think that's what the game does very well, because the map is pretty big. It's divided into 3 parts, but you don't get all the things. They're pretty, you can still breathe, basically. And so here I unlocked a new charm slot, for example, and you're going to see a bunch of charms. There are 2 types of charms, like the golden one, and you can only equip 2 of them, which are a little more interesting and more powerful, and then the other ones that you can find. And like I said, it's just a way to make your game easier, I guess, making stealth easier, allowing you to be more powerful, more resistant, or to parry more easily, for example. Bamboo also is pretty nice. The only QTE you have in the game, and you have 3 sequences, and the last one is not that easy, to be honest. It's you have to do it very quickly, and usually today in games, QTEs, you don't need to be very quick anymore. So it's also nice, and it will allow you to increase your determination, your resolve. And resolve is important. The yellow circles you have, the more you have, the better, because that's how you will gain health or regain health during combat. Is you can use resolve to get back the health you've lost, or to use some of the special moves you will have unlocked. So it's all, like I said, combat this is a virtuous circle that works very, very well. And exploration is the same. You're going to be able to improve those things, and there's platforming, as you can see, along the lines of Horizon Zero Dawn or Uncharted. It's not challenging, but it's always nice to be able to see that you can climb up. Not mountains, specific places where you can do it. For me, it's done in a way that is a bit old school. Like, you see the rocks too well on the cliff where you can climb, and there's even paint. So for me, that could have been done better. It could have been more hidden. But when you get the grappling hook, it allows for very nice sequences where you can jump and swing and everything, and you can even use the grappling hook in combat too. So that's pretty nice. It's nothing you've never seen before, quite clearly, but it all works very, very well. And the animations, and again, I'll tell you a bit more about it when we reach the visual part of the game. But everything is smooth and fluid, and it works very well. And in the end, that combination of everything plus the setting itself, feudal Japan, it makes it for a game that is very engaging. Now, visuals. I think you've seen it in the footage I've shown you before, but here I chose bits and just bits. Again, there's a lot more to see than what you see here. But the game looks amazing. Artistically, it's perfect. Look at that. I mean, honestly, who can complain? Who would complain? I don't know if technically everything is impressive. There are 2 graphics modes, performance and resolution. We've played in resolution mode. We've seen a few slowdowns once in a while. It seems to be a lot smoother, if not completely smoother, in performance mode. But for some reason we stuck to resolution mode. And so I don't know if technically everything is perfect. Might not be. Some of the textures, the rocks, for example, could be better, I guess. But overall, there's a sense that you are you're somewhere else. You're it's a different time, but it's also a location that we don't see that much in games. And everything moves with the wind. That's something they really put forward when they presented the game, and you can really tell that's where they put all the efforts, and it makes the world very lively. And it's amazing to see the particles everywhere, the wind affecting everything in the world. The photo mode, which I'm using now to show you the different elements, the attention to detail, it's pretty amazing. and the fact that you can use the photo mode and the world can still be in movement is very 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 nice. And I think the game probably looks better in movement than it looks in, when it's a simple screenshot, which is probably why they allow you to make short videos adding music from the game to the clips you make using the share play features, and of course for someone like me who enjoy looking at every detail in the scenery, it's a very nice option to be able to use and to make videos for review. It's a treat. I can't say more. So yeah, there's really not much to say. The lighting is very well done. There's even a dramatic mode for contrast if you like, like deep blacks and even more colorful game, because the game is colorful by default, but it's even more when you use the dramatic mode. You can, of course, there's a HDR, which also looks very very nice. So if you are an HDR TV, that is something that you will enjoy. We'll have some HDR videos later this week, so don't worry. It's in the making, as we say. But yeah, the time of day that changes. There's a day-night cycle, obviously, the weather, everything is going to affect the way the game looks. And one place can look very different depending on when you see it, and depending on the weather conditions. And well, you're going to tell me that it's exactly like that in other open world games, and you're right. But that also makes the game very engaging, because exploration is such a part of the experience. And like I said, riding the horse feels very satisfying. It's, the animation of the horse are good when you compare them to what Ubisoft has done in the past few years with their horses. It's so much better. You get to feel attached to the horse in a way, even though there's no gameplay gimmick like in Breath of the Wild to increase that relationship between Jin Sakai and his horse. You can tell he cares about his horse, and you will care too. So yeah, just look at that. It's so easy in this game to just go anywhere and say, okay, I'm just going to walk around and then just press record, and well, that's very easy to prepare a review video this way. There's no real need for me to look for a place that will make the game look good. It's that easy to showcase the game's amazing visuals. And animations, back to animations also, I remember it was something that some people criticized after the state of play. Even for combat, I think they work very well. The link between animation, there's never a problem. Sometimes the games adapt in exploration. You can see that you jump, and there's some, the character moves a little bit so that it adjusts to the rock it can grab or things like that. Sure, but during combat, it's all very very smooth, and might not be the most impressive animations you've seen in the world, but it looks very realistic, and more than that, they do not make the game unplayable. I mean, it's all very reactive, and you can do pretty much anything you want when you've learned the combat system, and you can be a killing machine, which is very, again, satisfying. Which is probably the game, Ghost of Tsushima, the game, satisfying, is what you'll remember. And again, aesthetically, look at this. I mean, how can you not want to spend your time just looking at all the details, all the flowers, and again, the weather effects. Let's take a look at the day-night cycle that I'm showcasing here in the photo mode, which is great. You can do that. You don't even need to leave the buttons on. You can change, and you can see that just changing the time of day is going to affect how this place looks like. It's too bad I could not change the weather at the same time. Although there's, I'm showing that later on. But yeah, it's it's a world where there are animals. You're not going to meet a lot of people except for enemies, maybe, when you're on the road. But animals are plenty. Some will help you, guide you to specific places, but some are just, there to make the game lively, and it works very, very well. And with the colors, with the reflections, they're also very nice. The fog effects, it's usually added to the light and the sun and fog. It looks amazing, and you can even change the weather using the flute. If you found there are collectibles that will allow you to learn new songs, and I've only unlocked 2 out of 4. It's like for rain and sun. But it's it reminds me of maybe the older Zelda games, where I remember I could do it in the Wind Waker, at least, or maybe using the not harmonica but the ocarina to do it. And here you can see I'm switching the weather in photo mode, so it's not going to happen in real time in the game. That would not be so abrupt, but you can see that one place will look very different just because the weather is different. Again, it's normal, but in this game, because it's so aesthetically great, it guarantees you'll be amazed. I can tell you that. I'm showcasing now the dramatic mode I was talking about. I'm not sure you can really see here because of the weather here, but if you try it in game, you'll definitely see it. It's for me, the dramatic mode is great, but in interiors, it makes it a bit harder to see the details. You don't have a torch to light your surroundings, so maybe it's a little bit annoying for that. But look at this. The only problem with the visuals I have is the choice they've made to highlight all the things you can interact with, like the trees you can, the branches you can collect, or the flowers. And oddly enough, you cannot deactivate that in the menus, and that's basically the only thing I can reproach the game for. And hopefully they'll add a patch to add the option to be able to disable that visual aid that I don't think is very nice. So as a conclusion, I would say, and Dafton will agree with me because that's also Dafton speaking today, even though he's not here with me, that Ghost of Tsushima is a very nice surprise. It doesn't do anything really new in the open world genre, but what it does very well. Apart from that choice to make stealth so accessible, because of the time it takes for enemies to really spot you in hard mode, even in hard mode. But other than that, exploration is satisfying. Combat is really, really, really solid. I mean, it's great fun to play. And it's not that easy, timing is important, but it's not like easy timing all the time. You're not going to perfect dodge or perfect parry all the time, so it's going to get some getting used to. And all in all, I think it's great to be given like 2 great exclusive on PS4. It's the last PS4 exclusive. It's Sucker Punch, which they released almost one of the first exclusive on PS4 at the beginning of the generation. So it's a nice way to say farewell to the console. And I mean, it's the promise that you're going to be able to spend your summer indoor playing video game instead of just getting sunburnt maybe. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Just stay tuned for more content this summer, and thanks for watching as always, and take care of yourselves. Bye.